just have me say your name, your title.
Mark Dickens, Director for Performance Variants, Performance Parts, and Motorsports Engineer.
So Mark, you've got another Camaro, another SEMA, but this one's kind of unusual. Tell me what was the impetus to actually build this car?
This car is actually one of our 2 development vehicles right out of our fleet, and this was kind of a really neat exercise that we decided to set out this year. We wanted to use the mindset of what a drag racer would do that bought a Camaro SS, and just kind of go through that weekly step through horsepower. Hey, I got a little extra in my paycheck, I'm gonna go buy a little more horsepower. But as they do that, usually they focus on the engine. What we wanted to do is put the bits that go downstream of that and help them with a kind of a recipe of like, hey, if I go to this horsepower level, here's the parts that go behind it. And we set out this summer and we just started to increment through horsepowers and come up with a little portfolio of parts, starting from your tires, driveline, up the driveline, high stall torque converter, induction, exhaust, things of that nature.
Yeah, I go to the drag strip and you see somebody put, let's say, 1,000 horsepower in a car, and the first thing that goes is the transmission blows, right?
Right.
So you started from the tires and you worked your way up to the engine.
Correct.
So what's in this car to make it 600 horsepower worthy?
So for the first thing that we found is people really want a tall sidewall on their tires. So the problem is if you put a 16-inch rim on the brakes packages that we have on an SS currently, it won't fit. So we put together a small brake package to allow us to get a 16-inch rim on the car. And then we kind of worked up the driveline, half shafts, ZL1 half shafts. We took the manual transmission 373 final drive ratio and put it in the automatic car. Then we kind of went up ZL1 drive shaft, and then we stepped into the transmission and we looked at a couple things in the transmission. High stall torque converter, some parts from the V series, a bunch of different parts in the trans to get it stronger to handle those high shock loads. And then the LT1 based engine, hot cam and head kit, it's a ported head. And that's one of the steps along the way that we think people work their way through.
So is it kind of like a COPO mini-me?
Yeah, that's a really good way to say it.
Is that where we're at here?
Yeah, this is like a COPO I can afford me.
Yeah, a budget COPO, right? So you can actually do this. And can people actually go and buy these parts and put it on their own car?
Well, some of them right now are already available because they're flow-down parts.
Sure.
And what we want to do is, if you look back at what you and I have done through in the last couple of years here, we put these recipes together, like the ultimate track car, where we give you part numbers and how you put them in the car. We're trying to work down that same path. And this year we decided, hey, let's give people a kind of a sneak peek behind the scenes, behind the curtains. This is actually a development car, and we're right in the middle of the process right now.
So you said you gave your engineers the goal of actually going to the drag strip and breaking it. Did they manage to break it?
Yes. Yeah, there finally some parts showed up on my desk with autographs on them.
Okay.
So.
Because the idea is, of course, you want to get a part that can withstand that kind of horsepower, right? And you won't know that until you actually go out.
That's right. And I tell you, the thing I was most amazed about, all of us were, was we just kept pouring power and power to this car. The SS out of the box has got some pretty stout parts in it. So it took pretty high horsepower levels and shock loads and high stall torque converters before we really started to need the bigger parts.
Well, it's a shame it was raining a little bit because you guys did a burnout, but it's hard to do a burnout in the rain. So guys, don't get all excited. It's raining, it's wet. If there wasn't a wet surface, we'd have a lot of smoke. Because I know that people are going to be saying that. Well, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks.